All right, nice bounce back for the Sixers, ending their 3-game road trip with 2 wins over. Hey, listen, they just needed to handle their business. Minnesota, and tonight, taking care of business against a Indiana Pacers team that, hey, they missed all their guys. That's their problem. We are live on the Xfinity Mobile Studio here with Derek Kyle. I'm Devon Bree, President of Basketball Operations. All of you. Comfortable win for the Sixers, 135-114 over the Indiana Pacers, getting a huge games from Maxey, Embiid, and Edgecombe. We'll talk about them. We'll discuss all of the supporting cast and just simply picking up a solid victory over the Indiana Pacers tonight, a professional win, as they call it, 135, once again, 114. Sixers now 32-26. So after getting off to a horrible start to the trip with a loss to the Pelicans, they bounced back with 2 nice wins, back to 6 games over 500. Let's get to the main thing. We'll talk about the stretch a little bit later, presented by Rothman. We are presented by Bet365, whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Derek, a great approach. Nice professional win for this group, and good to see Joel Embiid back out there on the floor.
No, it really was. And look, I'm sure there's going to be some talk both in the chat and on this panel about every run the Sixers went on was when Embiid was on the bench. But I thought when he came out there, he was playing some really good offense, and he was doing a lot of things that helped them. You know, how much of the defensive breakdowns were his fault we can get into. But I thought almost from the jump, you could see how his shooting, his screening, his passing especially was on point for most of the first quarter or first half. You could just see how his skill level and how the gravity and tension he receives opens up a lot of things on offense. So it was real nice to see him get back. I do think he tailed off a little bit, especially on the defensive end in the second half and even late in the second quarter. But it was real, just like you have so many more options when he's on the floor. You have so much more fear that you instill in the other team, and you just have a whole lot of different ways that he can make a bunch of odd fitting pieces look coherent on offense.
Yeah, frankly, I thought defensively he was one of the only guys who looked competent early. And then I think as the game wore on, I agree with you, Derek. I think you could see the fatigue setting in, decision-making wasn't as good, and he's not as into the game. But early, I mean, the rim protection was great. He's getting them, opportunities to get stops. Now, whether they converted those, the answer is no. They were not very good on that end, and that was a lot of overhelping and schematic stuff that is just going to absolutely drive me crazy the rest of the year as they play this way. But I think the most important thing for me as it relates to Joel, we had a question in our mailbag episode yesterday from, I believe it was from our friend, veteran of the Psychic Wars, talking about Joel has said he wants to be in like a faster offense, wants to commit to playing in a faster pace offense. Do you think we'll see that? I think you saw what the version of that is for Joel, which is pass the ball, keep the ball moving, make quick decisions. It's not that he's going to, sprint up and down the floor, but maybe he's taking a mid-range jumper automatically instead of, jab, step, jab, step, jab, step. Maybe he's making a long hit-ahead outlet pass to Quentin Grimes on the break. Had a really good one tonight, got fouled, puts him on the free throw line. It's doing little things like that. And within his own skill set, just like, I'm going to play decisively. If I have a lane, I'm driving, I'm getting to the rim. If I have an opening from mid-range, I'm taking the jumper. And a lot of it was passing, right? I think he has developed, obviously the Tyrese Maxey chemistry has been there for a long, long time now. But one of the wrinkles that they've developed is that fake dribble handoff, and then Maxey goes downhill and he hits him with the bounce pass. They're hitting that way, way more this season, and with very few turnovers too, which is interesting because that's a pretty difficult pass through traffic for a big guy who is not like, he's a pretty good passer, but he's not in the like elite tier of big man passers. But they have figured out the timing on that. It takes advantage of Tyrese's strengths with his speed, and you take some of the work away from him so we can just focus on the finish. And I'm just really encouraged that while, yes, he had a 20-point first half and scored a lot, he didn't come back and it didn't turn into it's the Joel Embiid show and everybody else is just kind of along for the ride. They were able to play a cohesive team offensive game where 3 different guys scored 20 plus. I think probably 5 guys might have been in double figures. I'd have to check that. I think Watford got there, maybe 6, because I think Grimes and Oubre probably both got there as well.
Yeah.
I'm really encouraged by the way they played. We came into this game knowing you're going to beat the Indiana Pacers. At least you should. They have so many guys out, including Siakam, who's been basically their only chance to win games this year. So what I was focused on is, what does he look like? What do they look like? I think on both fronts, they passed the test.
Really did. And Cal, just to that point of the bounce pass and the trust that he has in Maxey, when you have somebody with that kind of speed and he knows that there's a window that closes pretty quickly out there on the floor, Maxey's speed, even just having one step, makes him feel that he trusts what he's doing with that bounce pass to Tyrese after that fake dribble handoff. So to add that to the wrinkle of where it was always Maxey with the one with the bounce pass for the pick and pop, now it's the bounce pass from, they've switched those and reversed those roles a little bit there, where it's to Maxey using his speed down. And even if he doesn't finish going downhill, he can kick it to the corner, kick it to somewhere else that might have an open opportunity for a jump shot as well. So love to see that. And just again, the approach after the Indiana Pacers really jumped out and had an 8-point lead after the first quarter. While we know the Sixers put up their 30, but to give up 38 points to that team early on, and you're just looking at it like, come on, man, we're not about to have another one of these. But they come back out in that second quarter and they really turn it up, hanging that 40 plus 45 on the Indiana Pacers, the plus 18 in that second quarter. So that's where, after, look, the game wasn't out of hand. It wasn't anything for us to really get up in arms about in that first quarter. But the
Devon, this is how I know you're not in the Discord, because there were definitely people up in arms in the Discord.
Well, to have the turnaround that they did to put up that 45 in that second quarter was really good. The Discord getting up in arms about it, that's fine. The response was what you wanted to see in that second quarter, to put in that 45 up and leaving no doubt after that. So love to see how they answered that punch, that early punch from Indiana to put up that amount of points in the second quarter.
Don't everyone speak up at once over there.
Sorry, I was screwing with some of my settings. It doesn't matter. No, I mean, it was a really nice response.
What settings? You're just talking into a screen. Messing with settings in the middle of a show.
I just thought Kyle was going to talk. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No, it was a really good response. I do think they had better energy defensively in the second quarter. Some of it was I just thought, I mean, look, Pacers came out, they made a ton of shots. I think they were like 2 for 13 in the second quarter. Whenever a team misses shots, that helps not only because you get the stop, but it gives you a chance to run. And I thought they converted a lot of those into opportunities. And quite frankly, if they just kept going at like chipping away, like the Pacers were completely outmanned from a talent perspective. And with the way the Sixers were running offense from the jump, I thought they were going to get back on track. But this was one where like you're down 8 after the first quarter. Quite frankly, just giving up 38 in the first quarter could have been really hard on the psyche, because that is a team that we spent a lot of time in the pregame show talking about how little firepower that they have. So that first quarter was startling and jarring, but they turned it back around.
Yeah, and what did they go on? It was 22-2, 21-2, something like that to open the second quarter. And so as I'm, watching this game tonight, and you go in, you're thinking, all right, we're going to view this game through the prism of what is Joel doing? How does he impact the team? All that. And you look at Maxey and VJ first and foremost, because you're always like, okay, those guys are going to get easier shots. They're going to get separation on screens. Maxey's probably going to get some better matchups as a result of that. But honestly, like, part of it was just Maxey and VJ dominating in that stretch to open the second quarter, where they're playing small and they're playing deliberately small, where it's the three guards, Kelly Oubre, Adem Bona. And I hope that Nick Nurse is watching how the offense looks during these last couple of games, where they're saying, I don't care if it looks like we're not going to rebound with this group. We're going to score on you, and we're going to give ourselves chances there. And then we can get back and get set. We believe in VJ. We believe in Kelly. We believe in Quentin as guys who can guard their man. And then it just comes down to, do you attack the ball? Do you go and get a rebound? And that was the point at which the game turned. So we saw it in Minnesota. They played similarly small lineups. And at the time, I looked at it and I said, I wonder how much of that was Nurse looking at Minnesota having no center, and they're deliberately playing small and doing more of a, all right, we're going to match them and we'll play more of a perimeter-oriented team. Tonight, they did the same thing, and I think it's really doing wonders for the offense. It's opening up the floor a little bit for Maxey, where he's able to get to the mid-range a little easier, able to get to the basket, draw free throws a little bit easier. And there are certain teams you're not going to be able to get away with it for as often or for as long as they played those groups tonight. But to me, that's the recipe. That's been the recipe all along, is you're not going to get a lot of stops with your backup units without Paul George. He is such a critical defensive piece, and they'll get back to a place where it can be like Paul and Kelly and VJ and Maxey, or Grimes and Maxey, whatever it might be. Until then, you just put your firepower on the floor and try to outscore teams. And so it's been nice to see that. And I think that's making a big difference for all those guys. Like, you're seeing Quentin has space to attack. He's had a couple of really nice games here after the break in a row, and had another good one back at home against Atlanta as well. So there are some things maybe falling into places here, or into the right places here. There are guys that look refreshed, that are playing better coming out of the break. And obviously Joel coming back and reinforcing these guys. That's a huge, huge deal, because it just makes everything else so much easier.
Nice super chat from EJ. I just want to throw this in there because you mentioned Quentin Grimes, Kyle, and how things have opened up for him. EJ, thanks. Appreciate the super chat, not saying that the McCain trade was good, just saying that it may have allowed Grimes to be involved like he was at the start of the year. Also, you guys rock. EJ, thanks. Really appreciate it, as always. Just wanted to mention that, as you mentioned Grimes, because he did hit Bree's number for that 15 points. So she got it.
Bet and Bree, baby.
With the bet presented by Bet365, but second consecutive game where he has a decent double-figure scoring night off the bench.
Now, Bree did mention in the Discord that she had an 11-leg parlay that she didn't reveal, and I'm really curious what that 11-leg parlay looked like, because that is crazy.
Especially if it hit. Then I need to get some more gambling advice.
I mean, then we might not be seeing it tomorrow if that hit. I mean, geez, 11 legs. No, I mean, look, I think maybe, like, I won't say it, like, the McCain trade doesn't give Quentin a little bit of peace of mind or being sure of his role, but I think it's probably more that Quentin's a good basketball player, and eventually he was going to get back on a hot streak as well, or at least start playing much more competent basketball than he was. Like, he's a solid to good shooter. He was not going to stay in that slump forever.
All right, let's take our first break here as we discuss the main thing. We'll get to the stretch a little bit later. We got to talk about the player of the game, and more with the big three and how things worked as well as they did tonight against the Indiana Pacers. Comfortable win, some rest for the guys as well. 135-114 over the Indiana Pacers. Now 32-26 now on the season.
I was going to say, boy, they picked up some wins that I wasn't aware.
That would have been pretty good. 32-26, winners of 2 in a row. Miami will be the visitors on Thursday back at home when the Sixers return to South Philadelphia. When we come back, we'll get into all of that with the big three. What else worked for this win? Nice, easy, comfortable one for the Sixers on this Tuesday night. Nice to get an easy one. We're discussing it all right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
You ever have one of those days where you're moving nonstop and you suddenly realize, whoops, you forgot to eat? It's happened to all of us. That's why I've been loving what Wawa is doing right now. Wawa has a $5 deals all day long, and honestly, it just makes life easier. If you're starting early, you can grab the $5 big breakfast meal deal. We're talking a sizzly, hash browned, and any size hot or iced coffee. That's a full morning win for $5, available from 5 to 11 a.m. Personally, I go with the sausage, egg, and cheese croissant, and I've really been digging the return of the caramel cream coffee. Then later in the day, the value keeps rolling with a roasted chicken sandwich or crispy chicken sandwich created your way starting at $5. And they've even got new teriyaki recipes for a limited time. It's real food, real value, and built for busy days. No planning, no overthinking, just swing in, grab what you need, and keep it moving. Start your day strong and fuel up whenever you need with Wawa's $5 deals. Limited time, exclusions apply. See wawa.com for details. Gotta have a Wawa.
All right, folks, it's early in 2026, and it's time to make your home work smarter, not harder. Yes, with a TrueMark Financial home equity line of credit from TrueMark Financial Credit Union, you can tap into your home's equity to handle renovations, upgrades, or whatever's next on your list. A TrueMark Financial HELOC Select gives you the flexibility to borrow when you need it on your timeline with competitive rates compared to the most unsecured loans and flexible repayment options. This could be a smart move for your home and for your wallet. Learn more about TrueMark Financial's home equity line of credit at TrueMark.com or stop by one of their 24 branch locations to get started. I'm near one. I'm quite sure you're near one as well, or maybe you just simply drive past one and don't even notice it. It's there. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender, NMLS 404938. Save that money, everybody. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show. 135, 114. Derek, Kyle, Devon, Bree. We thank all of you for hanging out with us. And Kyle, let's just start off with, I mentioned it to you guys and everybody that I wanted to see VJ Edgecombe stay aggressive and getting his shots. And he ended up tonight, not 18, but he had 13, and he was really efficient, 9 for 13. And as he finished with 23 points, had 7 boards, 4 assists. But to go along with it, 32 for Maxey, 27 for Joel Embiid, just a nice balance. Just what you saw, how you saw those guys. Not a lot of, 4 for Embiid, we expected those turnovers, but just 3 from the backcourt. What you saw from the trio, as you saw, just a really good flow of the offense, no selfishness, no hijacking of the offense, as you talked about with Embiid as he got off to that really good start. So just what you saw from the trio overall as they really set the tone for tonight.
Well, for VJ, I think that's the easiest 20-point game that he's had as a professional. Like a lot of stuff that was just early offense, use your speed, get down the floor, hit a 1-2 crossover, you're at the rim, easy dunk on a leak out. You get a couple of threes, catch and shoot threes. The one shot that drove me nuts was the transition 3 that he airballed, because I could see his base was not set, and I'm like, oh, buddy, please reconsider this one. It leaves his hands. It falls short. The thing that I love, because he airballed 2 threes on a night where he made 2 other ones, is that he comes up laughing out of these. We have covered some guys who, if they airballed a single 3, might not show their face and might not take a 3 for maybe a month, probably much longer than that, quite frankly. So I love the ability to just move on and next play. I think what we've seen coming out of the break is he actually did get some R&R, because I think he looks refreshed. I think the mid-range has really been working for him. He's doing a better job of getting to his spots and creating a little bit of separation to rise up and shoot, and I think that's making a big difference for him. Just a great game. And there's so many other things that he does well at this point. Consistent rebounder, where he's given them like 6-7 a game, it feels like right now. He is guarding up better than I expected this year. Yeah. Had a really nice possession against Jarris Walker where it looked like Walker might be able to post him up and get to the rim. He still gets a great contest in, then goes the other way and makes a play as well. And there was one tiny little detail early in the game in the first half. I think it was for Joel's 19th and 20th points. Early offense, Joel calling for the ball on the right block. VJ throws the pass early, and I can't remember who was guarding him, but his man goes to double Joel, and VJ, seeing this, cuts hard to the corner to provide an outlet. It doesn't allow Indy to keep the double there. Then VJ clears the side, and Joel gets a practice shot from the right block, hits the jumper. And it's one of those things where it's just all about decisiveness. It's seeing my guy left, I got to move. Now I got to move again, and I'm setting up my guy. It doesn't matter if I get any credit in the box score for this. It's making a winning basketball play. And I love that that's a thing that's ingrained in his mind. And I'll let you guys talk more about Maxey because he was awesome. But near triple-double, 32 points. Guy's going to be an all-NBA player this year unless something insane happens with the voters. But just can't say enough about this type of season that Tyrese is having.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I was real happy with VJ's performance. I do think the high-paced game that this one was played in certainly helps him and allows him to attack at times, not just in transition before the defense is really set. I think Kyle's point, like, he contributed in so many different ways. And what I really like is throughout the course of the season, he has gotten better and better and better at learning how to play off of Joel, whether that's cutting, whether it's using him as a screener. It's just something that Devon's brought up a bunch. A lot of people don't necessarily come into the league having played with that kind of archetype because there just aren't that many Joel Embiids in the world. So it takes a little bit of an adjustment. I think he's picking that up real quickly. And, obviously he puts in a lot of work, studies a lot of film, is a hard worker. So you expect that he will pick things up quickly. But it really is, like we've talked about this time and time again, his ability to turn either a weakness into a strength real early in his career in terms of the shot, or picking up how to play off of a, unusual archetype like Joel. It just really bodes well for his future and the kind of ceiling that you expect he will develop into. So it was a real incredible performance from him. And yeah, I mean, Tyrese is... Funny thing about Tyrese is I thought the first quarter he was a little bit frustrating. And he turned it around in a big way. And with the exception of maybe one 30-foot catch and shoot three off of an offensive rebound, I really didn't have a problem with almost any one of his shots, after that first quarter. And for him he didn't have a huge night in terms of 3-point shooting, but his playmaking was incredible. His ability to get to the rim and get to the line really, really helped them. He's just he's back to playing really good basketball, which is good to see. And yeah, he will absolutely make an all-NBA team.
So with the Edgecombe part, because the thing when you guys mentioned playing with Embiid and really picking that up, he's played 53 games of their 58 that they've had because he missed that little bit of time. Joel hasn't played in all 53 of those games, so he's played a nice stretch in December and January, start of February. But there was some time off the floor. I mean, some time where he wasn't there also, that you can kind of lose that feel and that chemistry that you have with somebody. You have to get that back. And he picks it up so easily. I love how under control he is, where he's not sped up. You watch a lot of these players in the league and maybe they don't play for the Sixers and you say, man, these guys are just really, they don't allow themselves to get sped up when they don't want to be. And we've seen him really from game to game to game, from week to month, get to a point where he's so under control. And when he makes a mistake, a lot of the time it's his fault, not necessarily you put most of that on the defender. So to see his poise and how under control he is, and doing so and playing with a veteran like Joel Embiid, where he likes things a certain way, and when he likes those passes in a certain spot, It's not really easy to do after maybe not seeing him for a while out there on the floor, albeit maybe some practice moments where they do some side work where it's not an actual practice session. It's more of just some drills that they're running through, some two on nothing or 2-on-2 against the player development or the assistant coaches guys. But just to see him come out there and get that really efficient, Kyle, you said just an easy 20 for him tonight, where you look up and you're like, wait a minute, I was focused on Embiid and Maxey with their 20 plus. Could Quentin Grimes maybe get there because he's scoring at a nice volume? I didn't realize VJ Edgecombe was right there on the cusp of a 21 that quickly when he got there, where they were all hovering around 22, 21, 21. So you can't say enough about this guy 53 games into his NBA career and what he's able to do. And for Maxey, just to be able to score, like we've talked about with the he was 2 for 8 from 3, so he didn't have from behind the 3-point line, but he got to the free throw line, made all of those, got to the basket and finished a couple of runners. It was so good for him tonight with his 2-pointers. He wanted to throw that lob to a Nembhard. I think we all know which one that was. And his teardrop was, even though he almost passed it and threw that lob to a Nembhard, he just threw it straight up in the air.
Passing that ball,
right? And it was nothing but net, just water, right? Just drop it right through, and that's the type of night it was for him. So as you guys mentioned, first, Kyle, you mentioned it in the pregame. Get these guys some rest where they don't have to play a lot. 2 big games coming up on Thursday and Sunday. Professional work tonight where they handled their business and they got some rest. And B comes back in the fourth quarter just to get some cardio, since this is first game back. But just the way that he ran the offense, rebounded early, didn't leave any doubt for many offensive rebound opportunities for the Indiana Pacers guys, some scrappy guys over there to pick up those loose balls. He picked those up, those basketballs, to ignite the fast break, to get out in transition, the early kick ahead passes, the finishes for himself, 2 of which were transition 3-pointers, his first 2 makes. And that's what you want to see from Tyrese Maxey, where he looks like his legs are good, not too tired. That's the type of performance you want to see from an all-NBA guard.
Yeah, and I think when you look at how the game started, he was 2 for 6, couple of turnovers after the first quarter.
Yeah,
I think it shows. Yeah, I think it shows the difference between Maxey now and Maxey maybe a couple of years ago, where you're not really ready to be the guy yet. You are still pretty reliant on Joel to aid your offense. And he came out, started the second quarter, and that stretch before Joel comes back is just powering that team. And with the VJ part, I think the point I brought up earlier about when you play in those 3-guard lineups, it makes life easier for Tyrese because there's just space and it's harder for them to, dig down on his drives. That's certainly true for VJ too. When they can't help on his drives, the thing that he can do is just beat somebody with his first step. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, he's got to make 2 or 3 dribble moves. It doesn't have to be something that's, super advanced. It can just be, I'm decisive. I'm coming out of my triple threat and just getting downhill, or I'm catching the ball on a handoff, turning the corner and going. And the more you simplify his life, the less you have to worry about, the progress he's got to make as a ball handler. And the more you just say, this is a great downhill athlete who's going to beat a lot of people to a spot. And so I think lineups can do wonders for these guys. We've talked all year about, Paul George, the difference he makes is teams can't leave him and they have to guard him. And so for the Maxies, the VJs, and the Quintons of the world, they just get so much space. Well, now you got to manufacture it without Paul. So it means you're going to be playing these small lineups. And I think they look really good in those right now. But I'm just glad after the game that Maxey and this team had in New Orleans, the thing I respect is both these last 2 nights, he has led this team. Even after the tough start tonight, he's like, no. We are not losing to the Indiana Pacers. And it would have been even harder to lose to this Pacers team than it would have been to the Pelicans, particularly to the Pelicans by 15 points in the manner they did. So you can't – the result of the Pelicans game is what it is. You can't undo that. What you control is your response. I think he's had an excellent response these last 2 games and certainly has shown the qualities of leadership and just flat out basketball skill that we've been marveling about all year.
Tyrese Maxey, might as well tell everybody, player of the game tonight. Tyrese Maxey with his near triple-double, 32, 9, and 8 on the night. And he was just really good, as the guys just laid out. 2 steals as well, 1 block shot on the night. The only flaw in his game was the outside shot not falling, 2 for 8 from behind the three-point line. But other than that, tremendous, and not letting the Indiana Pacers get too comfortable once the second quarter got underway, and helped to really put the Sixers in front, never looking back, with a comfortable win, 135-114 over the Indiana Pacers. VJ Edgecombe, one more thing. He had a play against Andrew Nembhard, I believe it was in the third quarter, where he got into the paint. Nembhard, strong defender that he is, just a smart, strong defender that he is, bumped Edgecombe a few times, and he didn't panic, kept his dribble, spun, fade away, and knocked it down. That's some growth right there. Instead of just picking it up on the bump, having to find a release to outlet the basketball so he's not caught in the paint for a 3-second violation, or just really disrupting the flow of the offense, going against the shot clock as well. I thought that was just a smart thing from him that he has started to improve on, not picking up the dribble. We talk about the gather in a fast break, trying to dunk on people or a layup. Just a simple pick up and gather where you're now in trouble against a really good defender that's not going to let you get a scoop shot off or anything. He kept that dribble into a fadeaway jump shot and made it. I thought that was a really, really good look. Just one of the small things that I saw in his arsenal tonight as an offensive player. All right, we take our break. We come back. We get into the stretch a little bit, presented by Rothman, as the Sixers return home to take on the Miami Heat. What's next? What's after that? We'll get into the stretch, talk about some more players that we saw that were pretty good tonight in this comfortable win. Sixers win. It's the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365.
And guys, next up, we want to tell you about Monarch, because managing your money doesn't have to be a struggle this year. One of my financial goals for this year is to put enough money for a down payment on a house, and Monarch is a great tool to help me do that. And we want to make sure that you set yourself up for financial success this year, and Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. The favorite thing about Monarch is how well it shows you exactly where your money is going, so you can make educated decisions on how to manage your finances better. Monarch isn't your average personal finance app. It's built to make you proactive, not just reactive. Monarch gives you automated tracking and clear projections, so you can see that you're on your way to hitting that financial milestone. And Monarch delivers real results for real people. Monarch helps users save over $200 per month on average after joining. Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code PHLY at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PHLY.
Guys, everybody's got their favorite hard tea, and if you watch the Sixers lately, boy, you really needed some hard tea. But have you ever looked at the can, turn it around to see what's in it? You can't, because they won't tell you. While they hide what's inside, Crooked Tea is bragging about it. Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with zero sugar. There is no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So if you're having a hard tea during a game, you're out with your friends, you're searching for one at the bar, and you're saying, I don't know, I gotta look at the can. You gotta flip it around and say, if the ingredients aren't there, what am I doing? Put that thing back, then grab a Crooked Tea that has zero sugar, real tea. They are fully transparent. You know it, Philly. Real recognizes real. So why drink the fake stuff? Crooked Tea, the only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find it in a store nearest to you.
Welcome back. PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365. Bree nailed it with the 15 plus for Quentin Grimes. Hope you tailed that one. Maxey did not hit 3 threes. He only hit 2. So my bad on my end. Jarris Walker did get the rebounds, but Maxey with the threes.
Devon was feeling that record for Tyrese tonight. He
Yes,
couldn't come through for him.
Yes, I was. Everybody, make sure you hit the like button, like and subscribe to the show, please. We appreciate it as always. Comment, leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know how we're doing. Anything on your basketball team, as always, we really appreciate it. And go check out allphly.com. Kyle's recap of tonight's game with the instant observations from this comfortable win over the Indiana Pacers. Plus, we got a pretty good sale going on, $36 for the Combine Die Hard membership. $36 for 1 year. You get the best coverage for the Combine, from the PHLY Eagles staff. And you also get a free t-shirt as well while you're in there signing up. So take advantage of it right now. Don't wait. This goes and extends through the Combine. So you don't want to lose out on an opportunity to join in and become a diehard member at a great, great price. Once again, $36 at allphly.com. All right, let's get to the stretch presented by Rothman Orthopedics, rothmanortho.com/PHLY. And the stretch. Shout out to Rothman. I've been able to play 2 consecutive weeks of some basketball.
Ooh.
Feeling good. Feeling
He's
good,
back,
everybody.
Baby.
Feeling good. Yes. Feeling good. Still, like, oh, can I do that? I don't know. But yes, I'm able to do it because of Rothman. All right, the stretch. As we look at what the schedule is for this basketball team. Thursday, the Miami Heat. They are in town. And Miami has been playing some pretty good basketball right now. Kyle, Derek, everybody, Bree, they hold a 3-point lead with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go over the the Milwaukee Bucks right now. So this is their game that we'll be paying attention to see what they do. But they've been playing some pretty good ball here as of late. And they come into town off Friday and Saturday, Sunday. The Boston Celtics, who are without Jaylen Brown tonight, but I think they play the Nuggets tomorrow. So second night of a back-to-back, maybe he plays on Wednesday. Off on Monday for the Sixers. Back home for 2. A rare back-to-back at home. Spurs and Jazz. Jazz should be a fun one, right? But Wembanyama.
For what reason do you say that, Devon?
The super tank that's happening in Utah. Man, they got destroyed last night too. But that is the stretch.
I watched about 6 minutes of that game and was like, I'm over it. It's over.
It was over in like 6 minutes. So
yeah.
But yeah, man, this is the stretch. So with Miami coming into town on Thursday. Right now, again, just taking on the Milwaukee Bucks with where they are. But Miami's been playing some pretty good basketball. We've been talking about them creeping up on the Sixers in the standings, along with the Orlando Magic. We focus on the Atlanta Hawks as well. But some pretty – so as far as the 3 games go with the Spurs, we'll include them in it. Yeah, man. I mean, the Sixers have a 1-game lead over Miami right now in action at the moment. So, Kyle, starting with you, man, listen. That's an important game on Thursday.
Yeah, and I will say the biggest thing on that calendar to me that's of interest, because there's a lot of smoke surrounding it, is it possible Jason Tatum plays in that game on Sunday night? There's been not firm reporting, but certainly some, we'll say, strong suggestions coming out of Boston that could be, and it was flexed into a 8 p.m. game as well. So there appears to be some belief in league circles that maybe this is an even more marquee Sixers-Celtics game than normal. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Obviously, Wemby coming to town.
Did you hear Allah? Did you hear Allah call it out? Talking about, I've been hearing some whispers.
Listen,
some
they're
guys,
out there.
Hey,
they are out there. So between that, Wemby coming to town, VJ versus Ace. Yeah, you got to make sure you don't look ahead past that Miami game. I'm sure they're not going to, just because it's like all you're hearing is these guys are on your heels, on your heels, on your heels. That doesn't mean they won't lose that game or have a poor performance, but it's pretty impossible to look past the team that's that close to you in the standings right now. And to your point, Devon, look, it's a classic Miami Heat team. They have a bunch of like veteran guys, Norm Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo. I'm not the biggest Hero fan, but he's got his positives along with his warts, I suppose. And Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. So they will probably throw their zone out at you and make you beat it if you keep any non-shooters on the floor. we've seen no matter who the personnel is, the Sixers fail to beat a Miami Heat zone. So we'll see if they can overcome that. First of all, we have to see, here's the main thing. Is Joel Embiid going to play? Like, how does his body respond after this one? I think it was clear they wanted to get him some extra conditioning in the fourth quarter tonight when that came out of hand. So hopefully that few minutes that he was able to play in the fourth quarter didn't impact the soreness, didn't impact the injury front, and is only a good thing heading into a pretty important stretch of games for the Sixers.
Yeah, this is a fun stretch where every game's got a little bit of intrigue. Obviously, the Heat, if they hold on here tonight, that's 5 out of 6 that they will have won. Cut that, what was it, a 1-game deficit between the Sixers and the Heat in the standings, Devon?
Yes.
I believe you mentioned.
Yep.
Then you got the Celtics, and besides the fact that they're just playing, way over expectations, you got the Tatum drama and possibility of his return. You've got Ace Bailey coming to town for that matchup against VJ. Hopefully that is the only notable aspect of that game, because that's another one that should be.
Pumper's going to be in the chat for that one, unless
there better be a super chat on that one there, Pumper. There better be a super chat. And then you've got the Hawks and Harden coming in. Like, you've just got a lot of interesting stuff coming up, and also a really important part of the schedule. Like, outside of that, it's a back-to-back with the Spurs and the Jazz, but outside of that, you hope with Embiid now back in the lineup, he's there pretty regularly. It'll be interesting to see whether, if he is going to play one of those 2 games against the Spurs and Jazz. Do you play him against the Spurs, trying to steal that win, assuming you can beat the Jazz without him? Because quite frankly, you should be able to beat the Jazz even without Joel Embiid. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. But yeah, this is it's a good stretch because there's some measuring stick games. It's a good stretch just because there's a lot of, even some of the games that aren't necessarily measuring stick have some intrigue. And there's a lot of basketball to be played in a pretty short stretch of time. Like, there's a lot of the first half of March. There's a good slate of games for sure.
If we don't get Joel versus Wemby, I am going to personally storm the practice facility, because that would be absolutely.
He's not playing in one of those games, Kyle. So I would imagine it's San Antonio. I would hope.
I'm just saying, and look, that Spurs team has been great. I don't know if you guys watched
that game yesterday. Yeah.
Obviously, the record is what it is. Like, they're a 40-plus win team at this point, so they're very good. But they came out against the Pistons and took a pretty good shot from the Pistons early in that game and won comfortably in the end without Wemby having a dominant offensive game. So that's a team that is a real threat to win the West, I think, with the way OKC looks right now. And I said it in our Discord yesterday. If he clears the 65 game threshold, I think Wemby might win the MVP this year. Like, I think that is firmly in play right now. OKC rest Shea a little bit here down the stretch. They don't really care more about the title. I think
I get
has a great chance.
They come out of nowhere, but I'm just saying, over Cunningham.
I will say this: Wemby is a transformative defensive player. Yeah. Cade is a good defensive player. Now, Cade is an offensive engine by himself in a way that Wemby is maybe not. Now, he's a guard versus a big man. I'm just saying I think it's going to be super fascinating, given that all these guys that are currently in the running are at or near the games played mark. And now we're going to go through the debate over, what the hell happened with the 65 game rule. And should we take away the Joel Embiid shaming procedure that we put into MVP vote?
How many games can Shea miss before he's ineligible? He's still got like 8 or 9, right? Hasn't missed.
I don't know that it's that many at this point. I have to, because they ruled him out for a couple games, so I think that we've already counted ahead a little bit.
Okay,
I'll double check that though. But the MVP race is it's getting interesting.
It would be funny if, you're sitting there at the end of the year and obviously Giannis isn't eligible and Jokic, I think, has like one more game he can miss, so he's unlikely to be eligible, and SGA ends up not being eligible, and then all of a sudden people might rethink a stupid rule, because quite frankly, most of the voters factored games played into their MVP votes anyway, so having a hard and fast cutoff was always dumb. But as we've mentioned, that cutoff isn't really about the MVP award. Is about trying to incentivize players to not sit games out, but it's still a dumb rule.
So Haberstroh put out a graphic yesterday that had Shea at 6 games remaining. The Thunder played tonight. I'm not sure if he had already factored in tonight's game because the Thunder had ruled him out for a couple more games at minimum. But he's only a couple games up on Wemby, who I believe has 4 more games that he can miss without. It's so stupid, specifically because nobody awarded the guys MVPs who weren't playing 65 games in the first place. Like it solved a non-problem. The voters had figured this out. They had created their own threshold. And so I don't know. That part has bothered me quite a bit. But yeah, anyway, fun stretch of Sixers basketball coming up.
By the way, SB Cole, Cade versus Wemby settled last night in that game in their head-to-head matchup.
The head-to-head stuff matters. We've seen it.
It does. All right, that's the stretch presented by Rothman. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY. 4 really good games coming up for the Sixers, some intrigue in a lot of them. And quickly, we'll update it when we get back. But right now, minute 18 to play in the fourth. Milwaukee 124, Miami 116 in the fourth quarter. So we'll see how that one plays out. Miami in town on Thursday night. All right, we'll come back. Final segment. We will get to your super chats. We will also talk about a few more nuggets from this game as well. We're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Here on the show. We've got a 3 p.m. show tomorrow in the studio, so it'll be good to be with the team back together for a 3 p.m. show. It's the PHLY Sixers post-game show, 135-114, the final score. Sixers now 32-26 on the campaign.
Guys, it is a big year for sports, events, concerts, all kinds of things. The World Cup's going to be in Philadelphia. The Sixers are playing. The Flyers are playing right now. Concerts all over the place. You need the Game Time app to make sure you're getting the best deals all the time, no matter where you're seeing them, because Game Time is going to make it easy for you. They have great features, including the zone deals. I love talking about the zone deals because you can just pick a section. You don't have to think too much about the individual seat, and then Game Time chooses it. You save the money, you get good seats, and of course, you get those panoramic seat views, so you know what it's going to look like before you even get there. So if you're getting ready for big events this summer, later in the year, or even just a few weeks ahead, Game Time always has you covered up until the event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code PHLY, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem the code PHLY for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
Everybody, let me tell you about a local business that's been helping Philly homeowners and businesses stay pest-free. Evans Pest Control. Love telling you about them. Why? Because this isn't some giant national chain. They're a family-owned, community-focused pest control company right here in the Philly area, and they've been earning the trust of your neighborhoods for years. My neighborhood, your neighborhood, all of our neighborhoods. Listen. Pests don't knock at the door and say, "Can I come in?" They're unwanted guests, and you want them out. And if you have people in your life, sometimes they drop little crumbs here and there. They don't pick up after themselves. Maybe leave this one on the nightstand. Yes, you know what will happen? The pests will show up. You don't want that. So if you see signs of pests or you just want to prevent them before they start, reach out to Evans Pest Control. Visit evanspestmgmt.com to schedule your free consultation. That's Evans Pest Control at evanspestmgmt.com.
All right, welcome back. Final segment with the team here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. Some super chats that we have. Pick up those crumbs so you don't have any unwanted guests in your home. You don't want that at all. All right, let's start off with the super chats. Mr. Midrange says, I don't know about you guys, but I like Dalen Terry. He looks really like a really athletic wing. The Sixers need that. What do you guys make of Dalen Terry? Haven't seen a lot of him in any meaningful minutes, but just your thoughts of the prospect, who he is. I liked him coming out of Arizona. Hasn't really panned out. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he got overdrafted was a big problem for him. Like, just the expectations then become too high for what he was at the time. Mm-hmm. But I still am on the corner of, I think they have the right sort of guys on two ways right now, which is to say they have some wing guys, some guys who are young or youngish, switchable defenders, players that you're going to have to teach them how to shoot a little bit and pray that they can hit shots eventually. But as they have, juggled different guys through two-way spots over the last few years, I always was kind of perplexed that they would use it on, like a Jeff Doughton or a ball handler when they had guards. They had guys who could play those minutes. And what I would have been trying to do is just bring in as many wings as possible, put them in your system, play them in the G League, get them in the practice facility. And if you believe you can develop guys as shooters, get guys who are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", and see if you can turn them into something. So I think he's a bet on that type of guy. I don't know if he'll ever get there as a shooter, an offensive player, but he certainly had a defender's skill set coming out of college and has had some moments there in the NBA. So, I don't think a ton of him right now, but I think he's the right guy to the right type of guy to take a look at. Didn't work out well at his first spot with higher expectations. Maybe he can turn into something with less of the spotlight on him.
Yeah, he definitely got overdrafted. Like, he was talking about like early second round pick, and then all of a sudden he just shot up into the late teens. And I think a lot of that was based off of he had a pretty good shooting year his second year at Arizona. You kind of hoped, maybe assumed that would carry over. Struggled a little bit, and then when you take the 3-point shot out of the 3-and-D player archetype, all of a sudden it falls apart pretty quickly. I do think some of the defensive tools, though, are legitimate. Obviously, pretty good size, pretty good wingspan, can move. Can he end up making shots enough to stay on the court? I'm perfectly fine having him on the two-way and giving him a shot to see whether or not he can do that. I'm fine next year bringing him around. But yeah, he's got to work on that offensive game for sure.
Yep. I agree. So we might as well keep it going with Davon asking, curious why we aren't at least trying Tyrese Martin out there on the floor as another two-way guy, fitting the archetype that you guys just discussed, 6'6", has some success on a bad team, but has shown some things. Think they really got a good opportunity here with him on a two-way deal, but why are they not at least trying Tyrese Martin, at least right now? I
think it's tough when Trendon Watford's spot in the rotation's getting squeezed a little bit. I think it'd be a tough sell to him that guys who are not as good as you, who are on two ways, are then getting minutes. Because I view them, maybe not Terry, but certainly Tyrese Martin. I think they're probably competing for similar-ish minutes where Nurse is trying to use them as ball handlers first and foremost. Now, Watford, I think tonight didn't play with other forwards, if I remember correctly. Was closer to like he's the 4 and he's a ball handling passing 4. And so maybe that opens up opportunities at like the 2 or the 3. But I think with the amount of minutes that you're going to play Grimes, Edgecombe, and Nurse seems committed to playing Payne at the 1 as the backup point guard, I just don't know how many opportunities are there for the other Tyrese, we'll call him.
I would like to see him get a chance, though. Like, I'd just like to see him.
Yep.
Whether it's a couple games, a week, give him a chance to see what he can do. Especially because it's not like Campaign's out there lighting the world on fire. And quite frankly, some of those 3-guard looks with Maxey and Cam and then either Grimes or VJ, I'm not a big fan of either. And they've been going to that a little more often than I think I would have expected. So maybe a couple minutes here and there, playing alongside of Tyrese Maxey, rather than putting Campaign in that spot. I would not be against that at all.
Nope, absolutely not. All right, final one from Davon. He has a request. Cue up that Maxey behind the back no-look pass to Joel Embiid for the two-handed dunk. Embiid had a couple of opportunities early on to dunk the basketball. He did not. But when Tyrese Maxey made this play, he had no choice but to leave the floor instead of going up with an easy layup for the great dunk. Great around, splitting the defense behind the back, right?
Just beautiful stuff.
Behind the back. And then dropping it off to Embiid for the two-handed dunk. And as we talk about Trendon Watford, I want to give him credit. He is the one who got the block on that sequence to start that offensive possession to allow Tyrese Maxey to do what he did, finishing it off by Joel Embiid. Great play. Great play.
Beautiful, beautiful play. To me, that's the play of the game pretty easily. And I'm glad I did not like how Trendon played for the most part tonight, but you're absolutely right, Devon. He did kickstart that sequence. So
and not known for his defense to get a block like that. And when he got the block, I thought it was going out of bounds. He kept it in play, and then that's how it got started. But just a great play all around. Really good sequence, really fun sequence on that one. And love when you make just a really nice play like that. That's a hard split to do behind the back where you do something like that. That's difficult to do.
We got another super chat from our guy Schoolboy coming in here at the end. It says rather Martin over Payne and Edwards at this point. Well, Justin Edwards ain't even in the rotation, so
yeah.
That's I mean, he's barely in the rotation if he's in it at all, right? So I'm with you on Cam Payne has not played or certainly hasn't scored the ball particularly well. I'm sure if you ask Nick Nurse, he'll tell you something about he likes how he's running the team or whatever, some kind of platitude there. Before we get out of here, can I shout out one guy we didn't bring up on the show? I don't think at all.
Yeah.
I thought this was a great Adembona game.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great Adembona game in a meaningful way, too. I know we've talked about some momentary, hey, that was a nice rebound. That was a nice thing he did that maybe is not in Adem's usual skill set. Tonight, there were a lot of sequences, like good footwork, good pass out of the middle where he's got two guys on him and he finds a three-point shooter for an open three. I think he had, 3 assists tonight, maybe 4 assists?
That one that you're talking about, too, was the Quentin Grimes right in the shooting pocket on the wing.
Yes, like really good placement on the pass. He hit a drop step to score. He had an offensive rebound that he then put up over a contest off the glass. And into the basket. So we're not just talking about hey, he dunked the ball a bunch and blocked the shot 4 times and then gave up all kinds of other plays. I thought he was genuinely good tonight in a way that I was like, this is a game where I can see, Adem last year simply just isn't making these plays. Adem in college definitely isn't making these plays. And I think you could see real skill progress from him on top of we know he's going to play hard. We know he's a great athlete and all that. And he's making plays in passing lanes tonight, couple deflections where creating steals and they're getting out on the break. So I just wanted to make sure. I think on a different night, he's our unsung hero. So I wanted to make sure even if we didn't do that tonight, that I said that I thought he had an awesome game and he was an integral part of that second unit's success tonight.
Really was. Yep, really was. Love to see it. And clearly we know right now who's the backup big when Embiid is playing. And at least maybe it was also opponent-based because Adembona keeping up with this type of center that they have from Jay Huff on down. We mentioned Potter in the pregame show. Made more sense for him to be out there against this team than it was against Andre Drummond. So we'll see, but definitely worth a mention tonight for an unsung hero on a non-unsung hero night. That's how good he was, Adembona.
Exactly.
Right.
We created a new segment for him.
Let's get to the world famous on the way out. It's the roll call.
Gonna have to speed run this one, baby. Thank you, everybody, for being here, hanging out with us on I almost forgot the day of the week, a Tuesday night. Thank you for being here and hanging out with our crew. We love you guys. We feel the love. Thank you to Vino Wines, to AC Filla, to Black Moses. Haven't seen him in a little bit. Said he's been working some long hours.
Understood.
Some time for us, Moses. SB Cole, Johnny P, Larry K, Philly Star, Rich P,
Larry,
Nick, Reardon, Mom's grandchildren, of course. What's up to Mom?
Hello, Mother.
Dirkman in the building. Marcus Blackstock, Theo, Mr. Midrange with a super chat. Davon with a couple of super chats tonight. Thank you to Jess. Thank you to Val. Thank you to my girl Nona. Thank you to Hedva. Thank you to Jazz. Thank you to Mellow 3 Point, X-Man, Music Lover, Edward Chamberlain, EJ Barrett with a super chat tonight. Philly Reddick, Schoolboy again. I wrote him down twice. How about that, buddy? Thank you to PHLY guy, Eugene Ross, Jay to Jungle, AA
What
Ron,
up, Gene?
I Gavini, Coleman Potts, My Guy, Bernard McCoy, all our normal friends, all our other friends, all our new friends too. Hit the like if you enjoyed this video. Hit the like because you love super producer Bree making it all happen. And on the way out, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time that we go live. We'll be back tomorrow for a 3 p.m. show on a Wednesday. Until then, stay safe. Take care of one another. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.